Let's pull apart a ripping win from the Cats against the Blues, shall we? It was an amazing game. It ended in really spectacular fashion. It was awesome to see how the Cats got the job done today, despite everything that Carlton threw at them. And I guess as we kind of jump to the scoreline, the Cats, 18-10. Again, super accurate, super efficient. To Carlton's 15-5. Carlton had more scoring shots. And especially late, they peppered away pretty rapidly and kicked a few goals late to just put a little bit of a fear up the spine of certainly myself, and if not, I'm sure many other Cats fans as well. But honestly, we had the lead. And if I scroll down, I'm going to get the worm in a moment. The Cats, outside of a brief moment there in the first quarter, were never in serious trouble, but they were always kind of close. And then, of course, they kind of hit the panic button with about 5 to 10 minutes to go and slammed a few on, including 2 from Blake Acres in the space of like a minute. He's got a bit of a habit of doing that. He's done it in finals now as well. And it went from a game that was, in excess of 30 points and feeling pretty comfortable to all of a sudden it was on for young and old. Everyone was kind of on the edge of their seats with about 2 minutes to go. Of course, massive congratulations to Carlton for that effort late. A lot of other teams would absolutely just pack up the tools and be done with it. But us being the superior team, we got over that hump there. And I certainly felt in those last few minutes that all it was going to take was kind of one kind of clean possession. And no team just has 5 minutes of dominance where they're just piling on goals and the opposition doesn't get their hands on it. And sure enough, after 4 consecutive goals, Mitch Duncan got his hands on it and delivered it beautifully into the forward line there. Eventually found its way into Jeremy Cameron's hands off the back of a beautiful little floated snap from Tyson Stengel, and he sealed the deal. That was one of 5 goals for Jeremy Cameron as I bring up the stats. It was an extraordinary effort for him. I'll keep my best on grounds kind of to myself for now. But we'll kind of take a look at kind of what went on. I might sort by fantasy points because at least it usually sorts, but kind of brings the best players to the top. And the things that instantly catch my eye, of course, as a Geelong supporter, Brian Myers doing what Brian Myers does, and he's there was 5 clearances there. There was goal assist as we kind of come to expect, but most importantly, the return of Cam Guthrie with 27 disposals, and you kind of saw him playing this halfback and a halfback role a little bit through the midfield. I think probably the ratio of minutes in terms of where he spent on the ground probably changed a little bit as after Danger did his hamstring, and I mean that worries me, that one, because it was like he knew immediately and wasn't even making an effort to come off. Like he knew it was a hamstring. The sub was made instantly. I worry that this might be a big hamstring strain for Danger, or he just he knows his body really well, having been in the system for many years. But yeah, Cam Guthrie was exceptional. From 79% of game time, getting 27 disposals. A lot of them were kind of handballs and those sort of things. I think he'll really kind of start to, as he reacquaints himself with the speed of the game, he'll really start to come good. Jeremy Cameron, one of the standouts with 5 goals from 17 disposals, but would float defensively as well when required. An exceptional job there. Really it was, and I'll filter now down to Cat-specific players. Really, I think that it's fair to say it was a team effort. There was no real massively obvious weak links. Maybe something needs to be said about Reece Stanley not quite delivering. He got absolutely obliterated by Mark Pitney early on, and even when Tom de Koning came through the ruck, they pushed and shit, like they really outbodied him at every contest. And he was held largely ineffective today, Reece Stanley, which was a bit of a shame. I think he's got the ability to get players with speed and that sort of thing, but he's a big unit. He's got the ability to kind of push and shove and use that size, and he didn't do it today. He got absolutely demolished by the pair of them, and I don't rate Mark Pitney at all. But he was taken to the cleaners by Mark Pitney today, so that was a bit of a shame and a bit of a concern. Hawk. His kind of rough start to the year is kind of continuing. Sorry, not even start to the year, rough block of about 2 to 3 games. He's been held goalless a couple of times now recently, and certainly going into the game, I mean, there was questions about Wiedering going into the match and whether he would or wouldn't, and I had some info that suggested early on that he was going to be out there, but it was a bit of a coin flip for him as to whether he was actually going to be all right in the end. But he took Hawk to the cleaners today. Hawk, no goal assists. That's very un-Tom Hawkins-like. I'm sure if I was to check scoring involvements, that might be kind of light on as well. If I bring up the advanced score involvements, there you go. So Graham Myers with 10 score involvements, but yeah, Tom Hawkins, where is he? 3 score involvements. So like he wasn't completely removed from the play, but for a forward, like that's a pretty low number for the key position player as well. Like that's a very low number. So he's in a bit of a rough patch at the moment, but he has come across some really brilliant defenders in recent weeks, and he's going to be in for another tough week with May and Lever coming up next week for the Ds. But Jeremy Cameron obviously did an amazing job. Ollie Henry, maybe the Blues fans, any of those who are watching today, might have some comments when it comes to Ollie Henry in a contest with Zach Williams, but a very Ollie Henry sort of game where he doesn't necessarily touch the ball a huge amount, but when he does, it's effective. From 8 disposals, he had 4 scoring shots, 3 of which were goals. A really great performance from Ollie Henry. Tyson Stengel, we've spoken about kind of the rise of Tyson Stengel lately. Not as much on the scoreboard today, but really effective, really strong through contests, really influential at key times, and again set up that Jeremy Cameron goal to kind of seal the game. When the time came, he was there and he rose to the occasion. Again, I guess I haven't had as many opportunities. I haven't been on full enough mode lately because we've kind of shifted when we've been doing the show. But I wanted to take the opportunity to kind of talk a little bit about Jack Bowes. Now, obviously there was a bit of concern from some Cats fans early on that he wasn't quite up to it, but he was a worthwhile investment because it allowed us to get pick 7, which then became Jai Clark and all that sort of stuff. Jack Bowes is absolutely crushing at the moment. I know these stats don't necessarily say a huge amount. We go, 14 disposals, but let's shift across there and look at that tackle count. He was all over Paddy Cripps today, and Paddy Cripps had an amazing game. And I would still say of the pair, and I think they went head to head probably more than most throughout the game, despite Jack's 66% time on ground. Cripper absolutely had the best of it, but I think Jack Bowes really curtailed his impact, and of course got a goal himself going the other way. Those 10 tackles really influential in just halting momentum of Carlton midfielders at different points. Played a great game. Parf started slow, but really built his way into the game as it played out. You can see mostly through handball there. He only, sorry, I have to scroll a little bit for you guys to see it, but 104 meters gained. So he wasn't doing a lot by foot today, and obviously that is reflected in the 4 kicks, 13 handballs thing. But he was there and he willed himself into it in a way that has been really impressive to me. I'm shocked that he only had 1 tackle though. That's way down on his numbers. I'm sure he's probably kicking himself a little bit, but he'll reflect on it. He'll take the feedback and be great again. One person who I want to really celebrate is again Jake Kolodjasny, who I've been pretty clear about it over the course of the last couple of years that I was questioning whether he belonged in the Geelong 22-23 for any given game, but he again delivered, and he got put up against Charlie Curnow from the outset and had his measure completely in that first half. Now I think Charlie went on to kick. I'm going to double check, but I think he went on to kick 3 in the end. Yeah, he kicked 3 in the end. A couple of those in the second and third and fourth quarters. But he really, I think Collar really kind of had his measure, especially in the first half when Carlton needed a spark because they weren't hitting the scoreboard accurately. They needed Charlie, and Collar kept him at bay. So big shout out to Jake Kolodjasny, who's again put in another amazing effort there. And then, you look at the general numbers in terms of disposals and those sort of things. It's that team spread. We're not going to get crazy numbers of players getting really high disposal counts because of how we rotate players through the midfield these days. But whenever someone went in, they contributed. They did an amazing job. It was an exceptional effort from Chris Scott as the coach. The players on the field, really, really superb job. Of course, the feedback around Geelong will continue to be about the midfield, because if I bring up some team stats, we did still kind of get squashed a little bit. Disposals, I don't put much stock in because we've continued to prove time and time again that we are more efficient when we go forward with the ball. So I don't make too much of disposal counts and those sort of things. Inside 50s, though, are a concern. We're, of course, ultra efficient. That stat's going to come up in a sec. 62 to 45.5% efficiency. But I am worried about our midfield's ability to get their hands on the ball and deliver it inside 50 at times. We know that when they do, they deliver it so efficiently, so cleanly, and it ends up in the hands of someone who goes on to kick a goal. And today was, another great example of that. But the discrepancy is a concern, and there's a pattern there as well. We're giving up. Look, to be fair, if we look at our season averages, Carlton's and Geelong's are pretty well in sync, and I don't know if those averages are now inclusive of what happened today, because if that's the case, the two teams are pretty well equal. But we gave away a bit today against a team that's arguably got the best midfield in the comp. And, can we count on being that reliable in front of the sticks every single week? I don't know. Free kick count, let's take a moment to acknowledge that, because I've had Carlton supporters screaming at me through Twitter already up to this point. You guys won the free kick count, so stick it where, anyway, we'll move on from that. We obviously dodged a few bullets, but I mean, look at these. Even our season average, we were below what is a measly season average as is. We've had 96 free kicks for the season up to this point. It's just actually shocking. But anyway, so I don't think we can make too much of the free kicks, no matter what Carlton supporters will say. Yes, there was absolutely a few we got away with. I'm sure there's a few that Carlton players got away with as well. These things have a way of balancing themselves out, and the free kick count was ultimately fairly similar. Beyond that, look, I think everything kind of shows it's kind of really very much in sync with the overall disposal count. We play a lower disposal game, and so that means that contested and uncontested and all those things, they're going to be lower naturally. That is just what it is. Disappointed to see we had more turnovers. Overall, a really great game from the Cats. Stoked to see us go 7-0. Look for full thoughts when Ben, in the next couple of hours, as of when I record this, gets the live reactions from everyone in the audience. So make sure you tune in for that live on the Hoops Crew YouTube channel shortly. There'll be the chaps doing their match review. There's a whole bunch of stuff coming up, so check out all the awesome stuff that we're doing there. Thank you very much for watching. 7-0. It feels really good. We're on to Melbourne next week. Hopefully we can make that 8-0. Thanks a lot for watching. Go Cats. Remain Geelong strong. I'll see you later.